Today, we're digging into a truly wild piece of New York City history. It's a story about a revolutionary idea for a subway that was built in secret, became a massive hit, and then it just vanished, sealed up and completely lost to time. So let's uncover the incredible story of the Beach Pneumatic Transit.
And no, this isn't some kind of work of fiction. This really happened. This is the story of a technological marvel that existed for just 3 short years before it was literally erased from the map, buried right under the streets of Manhattan. Okay, so picture this. The year is 1912. A crew of workers is digging out the new Broadway subway line when all of a sudden their tools punch right through a wall into an empty space. They grab their lights, peer inside, and what they find is basically a time capsule, a perfectly preserved ghost of a subway that nobody even knew was down there.
And what they saw was just unbelievable. There was a single beautifully crafted passenger car sitting on a short little track, a massive cutting-edge piece of engineering called a tunneling shield, and, maybe the weirdest part of all, the remains of a super lavish waiting room complete with a grand piano. The big question is, how in the world did all of this get there?
Well, to answer that, we've got to rewind the clock almost 50 years to a brilliant inventor who had a really radical idea to solve one of New York's biggest, messiest problems. So meet Alfred L.E. Beach. He was an inventor, an editor, and a visionary. See, back in the 1860s, New York City was just an absolute nightmare of traffic. The streets were just choked with horse-drawn carriages. Beach had this idea that the future wasn't on the streets, it was beneath them.
But this wasn't going to be a subway with loud, smoky engines. No, Beach proposed something way more futuristic, an atmospheric railway. The concept was so elegant. You basically use air pressure to move a passenger car through a tube, kind of like those pneumatic systems that used to send mail around. No steam, no smoke, just air. So here's the key. It was brilliantly simple. A massive 48-ton blower, which had the awesome nickname the Western Tornado, would literally just push the car down the track with a gust of air. And to bring it back, the operator would just reverse the fans, creating a vacuum that sucked the car right back to the station. It was clean, it was quiet, it was totally the future. But you know, having a great idea is one thing. Building it is something else entirely, especially when one of the most powerful and corrupt men in the city is standing right in your way. Beach just could not get official permission for his subway, and that was mostly because of the infamous politician Boss Tweed, who had his own interests. So Beach had to get sneaky. He applied for a permit to build 2 small postal delivery tubes under Broadway, but then he secretly amended the plan to build one single large tunnel instead.
58. That number alone shows you the engineering genius we're talking about here. Working mostly at night so nobody would get suspicious, Beach's team dug the entire 300-foot tunnel in just 58 days. And they did it using a circular tunneling shield that he designed himself, a huge breakthrough that let them dig safely without the street caving in. This thing basically became the template for almost all future subway construction. And Beach was all in. I mean, he put $350,000 of his own money into this project. In today's money, that's over $8 million. This wasn't just some little experiment. This was a massive personal and financial gamble on his vision.
And when he opened it to the public in 1870, it was not some dark, dingy tunnel. Oh no, it was a spectacle. The station was a Gilded Age masterpiece, with fancy frescoes, comfy chairs, bright lights, statues, and even a goldfish pond to entertain people while they waited. This place was designed to wow you.
And wow, people, it did. The public absolutely loved it. In its very first year, over 400,000 people paid the 25-cent fare to ride this amazing pneumatic subway. And get this, Beach donated every penny of it to an orphan's charity. By all accounts, this thing was a huge success.
Good morning, sir. Have a pleasant ride.
Thank you. This is the most interesting of contraptions.
So you have to be asking, if it was so popular and the technology actually worked, why did it disappear? Well, the answer is a classic story of political roadblocks and just seriously bad timing.
See, Beach's vision was absolutely massive, a 5-mile-long pneumatic subway system stretching all the way to Central Park. But the reality? It was just this one single-block demonstration track. The gap between that incredible dream and the short reality was, well, it was created by politics and money. And here is how it all fell apart. Boss Tweed and his political machine, who had money in the competing street-level railways, kept blocking any permits for expansion. Then, in 1873, Beach finally got the green light he needed. But, in just a case of cosmic bad luck, a massive stock market crash happened that exact same year. His investors pulled out, the project was officially dead, and the entrance was sealed up.
But just because the subway was buried, that doesn't mean the idea died with it. Actually, in a lot of ways, its failure planted the seeds for all the successes that came later.
Remember that postal tube permit he used as his cover story? Well, that idea actually took off. A huge pneumatic tube mail system was built all across New York City, whisking canisters of mail underground for decades. It ran all the way until 1953. So that's a direct legacy of Beach's project right there.
And that brings us right back to where we started, that shocking rediscovery in 1912. It confirmed that the legend was real, the workers found the car, they found that groundbreaking tunneling shield, and of course that famous piano, all just sitting there in the dark for 39 years.
So here's the real takeaway. Even though it failed, the Beach Pneumatic Transit was incredibly important. It proved that large-scale underground transit in New York was actually possible. Its circular shield became essential tech for the subways we use today, and it showed, without a doubt, that New Yorkers were desperate for a better, faster way to get around their city.
Now, the original tunnel was almost completely destroyed when they built the modern City Hall station. But rumors have always persisted that a tiny, inaccessible part of it might have survived. It kind of leaves you wondering, right? What other secrets might still be buried, just waiting to be rediscovered right under our feet?